Have you ever found yourself really wondering how did that start? Not just, a story, but, well, everything.
It's a huge question, isn't it? The ultimate origin story.
Exactly. And today, we're taking a deep dive into one of humanity's oldest, most fundamental questions.
Yeah.
The origin of existence itself.
But we're looking at it through a specific lens.
Right, through the lens of classical logic.
Specifically, how Aristotelian logic tackles this.
Our sources dig into how this way of thinking addresses existence, particularly by looking at the idea of infinite regress.
And why it might be logically impossible.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is how this classical logic, rooted in Aristotle's thinking, gives us a really structured way to approach something that often feels, well, purely metaphysical.
More philosophical.
We'll be looking closely at that principle. Every effect has a cause. It sounds simple.
Seems obvious, almost.
But then, what happens when you try to trace those causes back? Infinitely.
Yeah.
Forever.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. To unpack infinite regress. I know there's another term for it, too.
Tasalsul. It's from Arabic, often used in Islamic philosophy. Captures that same idea, an endless chain, a succession of causes.
Right, Tasalsul. And we want to see why, according to Aristotle's logic anyway, this endless chain leads to a kind of logical roadblock. Get ready for, hopefully, some aha moments. This might really shift how you think about cause and effect.
Definitely could.
Okay, so let's unpack this central idea first. Cause and effect. It's the foundation here.
Right. Classical logic, Aristotle's framework, it runs on this very clear principle. Every effect has a cause.
Simple enough, right? Like the coffee brewing over there, that's the effect of the machine.
And the machine is an effect of the electricity.
Which is an effect of the power plant, and so on. We see these chains everywhere.
Precisely. But this immediately leads us to the really crucial question. Can this chain of causes just go backward forever? Infinitely.
Okay, that's where infinite regress comes in.
Exactly. It means causes just keep going back and back and back. No end. Everything has a cause, which has another cause. An endless sequence.
So, okay, picture a line of dominoes. But imagine it goes on forever in, well, one direction backwards.
Right.
If you want any domino to fall, something has to start it, doesn't it? But if the chain is infinite, where does the start even come from? How does anything begin to fall?
And that's the core of the argument from Aristotle and classical logic. They argue this chain cannot continue endlessly. Or rather, certain types of chains can't.
Oh, there are different types.
Yes, it's a key distinction. They talk about accidental versus essential causal series.
Okay.
Accidental.
Think of your ancestors. Your father caused you, his father caused him. That chain could, theoretically, go back infinitely without creating a logical problem for your existence right now. You aren't depending on your great-great-great-grandfather for your immediate being in the same way.
Right, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's an essential series?
An essential series is where each cause is immediately, simultaneously dependent on the prior cause for its existence or its action in this very moment.
Like, give me an example.
Okay, think of your hand moving a stick, and that stick is pushing a stone.
Got it.
The stone only moves because the stick is moving it right now, and the stick only moves because your hand is moving it right now if your hand stops.
Everything stops instantly.
Exactly. The stone's motion is essentially dependent on the sticks, which is essentially dependent on the hands. That's the crucial kind of chain.
Okay, that distinction feels really important. So if we're talking about that kind of essential chain where each link needs the one before it right now, then an infinite regress becomes a problem. Is that the idea?
That's precisely it. In an essential series, if it were infinite, nothing could ever actually start. Nothing could be actualized.
Why not?
Because if every single thing must wait for a prior cause to act, and that cause is waiting for its prior cause and so on infinitely, well then nothing ever gets the go-ahead.
It's like an infinite waiting line where no one ever gets to the front.
Perfectly put. Nothing could ever be affected or actualized. It's a logical gridlock.
So the conclusion is,
There must be a starting point for these essential chains, a first cause, what Aristotle called an unmoved mover, something that causes motion or existence in the chain but isn't itself moved or caused by anything prior within that chain.
wow, okay. So it's about the nature of the dependency. If it's immediate, essential dependency, infinite regress is impossible for anything to actually happen.
Exactly.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Our sources point to the universe itself, its physical development.
Yes, the cosmos provides a kind of grand-scale illustration.
How so?
Well, look at what science tells us. We see a causal sequence. The Big Bang seems to mark a beginning, a cause.
Right, the start of space and time as we know it.
From that initial event, that expansion, the first stars formed. Their existence was an effect of the Big Bang's conditions.
Okay, following you.
Then, those massive first stars lived their lives, died in huge supernovae.
And scattered stuff.
Exactly. Heavier elements, which are the effect of those stars dying, but they then become the cause of the next stage.
Ah, like the building blocks for planets and, well, us eventually.
Precisely. From that scattered material, second-generation stars formed. Planets like Earth formed around them.
And Earth then developed the conditions for life.
Right. So you have this incredible, intricate chain. Each step is both an effect of what came before and the cause of what comes next.
It's a beautiful sequence. But okay, loop it back to infinite regress.
Yeah.
What if that chain went infinitely backward? Could the Big Bang even have happened?
Well, if this causal sequence, this essential sequence needed for the universe to become actual, extended infinitely backward,
Yeah.
then logically nothing could have ever started, including the Big Bang.
Yes.
Because each cause in that infinite essential chain would just be waiting for the prior cause to act, which is waiting for its prior cause forever. Nothing would ever move from potential to actual.
So the Big Bang itself, as the initiator in our observed universe, couldn't have been just another link in an infinite chain.
Logically, no. If it was, it would still be waiting to happen, essentially. The fact that the universe did begin, that we observed this unfolding causal sequence, forces us, logically, to reject an infinite regress for its actualization.
We see change, we see beginnings.
That argues against an endless wait.
Correct. The universe we see isn't in an eternal, unchanging stasis. It began.
That's pretty profound. Okay, let's try to make this even more concrete. Thought experiment. Our sources use some good ones.
They do. Analogies can really help grasp the logical deadlock.
Okay, first one. Imagine deep space. An empty void. No gravity, no friction, nothing external.
Got it. Pure vacuum.
Now, picture 30 marbles, perfectly lined up, row, each one touching the next.
Okay. 30 marbles in space.
The rule is simple. A marble only moves if the one directly behind it hits it.
Right. Motion is transferred down the line. So for any marble to move, the one behind it has to move first. And for that one to move, the one behind it has to move all the way back.
Okay.
Now, if none of these 30 marbles can move by itself, they all need that push from behind, and each one is just waiting.
Then none of them ever move.
Exactly. Not the first, not the last. The whole system just stays there, motionless, forever. Because there's no external push starting the chain.
The condition for initiation isn't met within the system itself.
And yet, like you said, in reality, things do move. We see change, becoming, all the time. We aren't in that static void.
We certainly aren't.
So what does the marble example tell us?
It highlights the logical contradiction. If the premise, no self-movers, infinite waiting, were true, the result would be immobility, since we don't observe universal immobility.
The premise must be flawed somewhere.
Right. Specifically, the idea that the chain within the system is sufficient. The logic demands an initial force, an initiator, that comes from outside that dependent system.
Something that isn't waiting for a push itself.
Yeah, precisely. Something that just moves or just acts to start the chain. It's the only way to break the deadlock and explain the motion we actually see.
That's a really clear illustration. The need for something outside the dependent chain. Okay, now let's talk about something really everyday. Money.
Ah, yes, the money analogy.
How does this work?
Well, think about the money you have. Physical cash or numbers in an account. It came from somewhere, right? Someone gave it to you.
Yeah, my job. Or I sold something.
Right. And you'll pass it on. You get paid, you pay rent. The landlord buys food, the grocer pays a supplier, the supplier pays a farmer. Money circulates.
Okay, standard economics.
But trace the origin of that specific dollar or that specific digital unit backward. Your salary came from your employer.
Who got it from a customer?
Who earned it somewhere else, and so on. Now imagine that chain of specific transactions went back infinitely.
Meaning, there was never a point where this money was, like, created.
Exactly. If the chain of where did this money come from went back forever, there would be no original source, no point of creation.
Which would mean, wait, the money couldn't actually exist now.
That's the logical implication. If it had no ultimate origin, it could never have entered the system to begin with. It would mean the money we hold was never actually produced.
But it obviously was produced. We use it. It exists.
Clearly. And that's the point. The very existence and circulation of money contradicts the idea of an infinite regress for its origin.
So the conclusion here is, unavoidable again.
According to this line of reasoning, yes. We know money has a source.
Yeah, the central bank or the treasury or whatever body prints or mints it.
Right. It was consciously created. It didn't just pop into existence by itself through an infinite chain of prior transactions. No one seriously argues, oh, this specific dollar bill has always existed, moving from hand to hand infinitely.
Okay, that makes sense. You trace it back, you find a source.
And the sources we're looking at argue the same logic applies to everything else in existence. All beings, all events, all motion.
Like the tree from the seed example.
Exactly. The tree comes from a seed, the seed came from a prior tree, that tree from its seed. That's an essential chain of generation. It cannot go backward infinitely.
Because if it did,
no tree could ever have started, no seed could have ever formed. Ultimately, nothing could exist or move. The logic compels us to find an ultimate, uncaused starting point.
So, following this logic all the way, where does it lead?
Well, if we follow Aristotle's reasoning to its conclusion, just like tracing money leads you eventually to the central bank that creates it.
Tracing all existence, all motion, all causality back.
Leads us to a first cause, a first creator, what Aristotle famously called the unmoved mover.
And our sources are pretty explicit here. They don't just stop at first cause, they identify this with God.
Yes, the argument concludes that this first cause must have certain characteristics. It must be a necessary existence, meaning it has to exist. Its existence isn't dependent on anything else.
Absolute existence, no prior cause itself.
Right, it hasn't been moved or caused by anything prior, but it's the ultimate source that sets everything else in motion or brings it into being.
So what kind of being does the logic suggest this is?
Well, think about it. If it's unmoved, it can't be physical matter, because matter is always subject to change, to being acted upon.
Okay, it's not material.
It must be timeless, outside of time. Because if it existed within time, it would have a before and after, which implies change and being subject to time itself.
Needs to be beyond the timeline it starts. Makes sense.
And it must be purely actual, no potentiality, meaning it has no unrealized possibilities. Because having potential means something else is needed to actualize that potential, which would just push the causal chain back again. It has to be fully complete, fully realized in itself.
Unchanging, infinite, self-sufficient.
Exactly, not needing anything else for its existence. The ultimate conclusion of this logical path is often described as pure actuality, perhaps pure thought or intelligence, that explains everything else without needing an explanation itself.
That's quite a leap, from just observing cause and effect to deducing these very specific attributes. But it's presented as a logical deduction.
That's the argument, yes. Not just a statement of faith, but a conclusion drawn from the impossibility of infinite regress in essential causal chains.
So this first principle, God, transcends the universe of time, matter, energy, but acts on it, initiates everything without being initiated.
That is precisely the outcome of this line of Aristotelian reasoning. The logical necessity of rejecting infinite regress leads directly to the conclusion that the universe must have a beginning.
And that beginning must be caused by a first principle with these transcendent qualities.
God, uncreated, without beginning, the initiator of all, yet not himself initiated. It's presented as the only logical way to break that endless chain and explain why anything exists or happens at all.
Wow. Okay, what an incredible journey that was. Seriously, starting from every effect has a cause.
A simple observation.
And following that thread of classical logic through the universe's beginning, through marbles, through money.
All to grapple with this idea of infinite regress.
And its profound implications. That it leads to a logical impossibility.
Right. If infinite regress was possible in these essential chains, the sources argue, well, nothing would be here. No universe, no stars, certainly not us.
The very fact that we do exist, that things do happen,
seems to demand, logically, that there was a first cause. Something to start the whole chain of being and motion.
So what does this mean for you listening? Think about this. It's an ancient line of reasoning, right from the bedrock of Western philosophy. And it proposes a universe that had to have a definite beginning. And that beginning was initiated by a being beyond our physical reality. A being whose nature, the argument goes, can be logically figured out just from its role as the ultimate starter.
It's a powerful framework.
So how does this framework sit with you? Does this logical approach challenge how you think about existence, about causality?
No.
Does it affirm something you already felt? Or does it just raise more questions about that ultimate why?
Definitely something to mull over.
Yeah. Gives you something to think about next time you see, well, anything begin, really.